today is Maria Andreu, author of Illegal, Growing Up Unwanted in America. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, this book is written, but it's not available for sale quite yet,
That's
right?
Right. Still working on getting it out to the world.
This is a memoir, and you've got a very interesting story to tell. You were born in Spain to Argentine parents.
That's right.
But tell us a little bit, if you could, a story of how you ended up and you were in illegal.
So my parents came as young people and to make their fortune in the land of opportunity, as many have, and overstayed their visitor's visa. But we lived here, really all I knew.
This was when, by the way? I'm sorry to interrupt.
They came in 1970 and came with me as a baby. I was an infant. And so really growing up, all I knew was being American. I didn't know what my parents' immigration status was or anything like that. And when I was 6 years old, in 1976, my mother's father died in Argentina, and my mother wanted to go to the funeral and to be with her mother at that time. And so we went, and my father stayed behind here in the States and said, don't worry, we'll find a way to get you back. And I said goodbye to all my friends. I told them I'd be back in 2 weeks, like my parents said, and it was 2 years before we were able to get back into the country.
Wow. All right, so you've got a unique perspective, because when you came back, it was hard, right, for you to assimilate the way you wanted to. It was, as you say, I think in the literature you say it's a sort of a torturous kind of a thing.
It's difficult. You know, the 2 years away from ages 6 to 8 were they were drawn out and they were tough, and it was the whole time I kept thinking, as a little kid thinks, you know, the way children do, as soon as we get back, everything will be okay. And first, the crossing, the getting back into the United States, we crossed the Mexican border, and that was scary in and of itself. But then when we got back into the country, it wasn't like somebody had waved a magic wand and everything was okay, because the life of being an undocumented person is difficult. And so I came to learn that, and unfortunately it coincided with growing up in my adolescent years, so it was a challenging time.
And you now, in fact, work with some folks in that particular community. You work with the folks in Palisades Park with a group called Community of Friends that work with the day laborers.
That's right.
And of course, I mean, this is not just an issue on a national level, what's going on out in Arizona, but also here, I mean, everywhere in the country, but particularly here in Bergen County, in Palisades Park, and other places where there is some contention with the day laborer situation.
Yes, it's a local issue. I think people get very excited about it when it's a local issue because it affects them on a day-to-day basis. People step outside their homes, they go in Palisades Park and they see day laborers waiting there for work, and they don't understand why, and so passions get heated. And I actually came to the work sort of in a roundabout way, because for many years, most years of my life, what I wanted to do was forget my past. It was painful, it was a source of shame, and I'd worked really hard to assimilate and be an American. That's all I really ever wanted to be. And then I was listening to talk radio, and I heard some vitriolic comment about, you know, these people, we can't let them in the country because they ruin our society. And I thought, that's me they're talking about. I'm these people. And so through beginning to share the story and talk to people about my experiences, I was invited to work with this group in Palisades Park.
And you actually do a lot more than just that, because you work as a keynote address speaker. You go out and you talk to people on a number of issues. Talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I find that people are inspired by personal stories, and so I have kind of a unique personal story, something that I felt was a source of shame and difficulty, and really has turned around to be a source of, you know, strength and power for me. So I teach people to learn that the things that they're hiding can also be turned around into something that's powerful for them, and also mostly wanting to spread the word about immigration and how we think about it, and mostly how we talk about it and treat the people that question.
Well, you were actually speaking just today at the Golden Eagle Diner in Palisades Park.
That's right.
And you were just talking to people through the Rotary Club there.
Yes.
How was that?
It was a great experience. Nice group of people. Good coffee, although I'm not a coffee drinker, but yes.
Talk talk about the fact that you are actually in a unique position to talk about immigrants' rights. You're an advocate for immigrants' rights, basically.
Yes, that's right.
And you're uniquely placed to talk about that because of where you come from.
Yes, an alternative title that I've been considering for the book is is The Reluctant Illegal, because you like it?
Oh, so right here and now.
We could be, yes. I mean, people could vote and decide what they like better. Reluctant in that I'm a reluctant immigrants' rights volunteer. All I've ever wanted to do is assimilate, but I do feel like I have this background that makes people sort of stop and say, wait a minute, I thought I knew what illegal immigrants look like. I thought I knew what I thought about immigration, but here's this woman. She looks like my neighbor, my friend, my sister. You know, she seems like anyone else on the street, but she's got this story. Maybe I should pay attention.
Is that one of the lies about immigration? What are some of the lies? You talk about the 5 lies of illegal immigration. What's that about?
Yeah, then there are many lies. Unfortunately, I think the conversation has gotten distorted, and really the main message I want to drive home to people is that we can disagree on policy and we can disagree about what should happen with immigrants and immigration in this country. But the one thing I think we should agree on is that we're talking about human beings. And so a lot of the rhetoric that's been going on recently about immigration is, you know, they take our jobs, they don't want to learn English. Those are some of the lies. Some of the lies are, well, if they only did it right, like our grandparents did. And so I think there's just a lot of negative talk that makes people forget that it's human beings we're talking about.
In your experience, when you're talking to people one-on-one, face-to-face, how difficult is it to break through that barrier? I mean, because you're making it sound easy, like, well, we have to just say, you know, we're all people. What is easier to realize than that? We are indeed all people, and all people deserve to be treated with respect and human dignity, right? But that's on paper, that sounds good. It looks good. Now let's translate that. That's a tough row to hoe, isn't it?
It is a tough row to hoe. And it depends, you know, on a personal level, I connect with people and they say, I absolutely understand. I can understand your plight, my plight. Specifically, I was a child, I didn't make choices. But those people, the ones that broke the law and the ones that are over here taking our jobs, you know, so you can get so far, but sometimes people have preconceived notions. So all I can do is go out and have conversations with people and share my thoughts, and, you know.
Now, if people want to reach you, maybe for you to be a keynote speaker, you go out and you talk to groups, they can actually reach out to you through your website, which is mariaeandreu.com. And I'm going to spell it, MariaEandreu.
That's right.
.com.
Yes.
And they could read a little bit more about what you're doing and the book.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing that.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Maria Andreu, thank you for joining me to talk a little bit more about your book and what you've been up to.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.